Desiree Lloyd. I'm a senior at Oshkosh West High School. This fall, I will be attending DePaul University in Chicago to study biology and to advance a career in medicine. Today, I'll be talking about underage drinking from a youth perspective. This past winter, I got involved in Rethink when Brenna Root, the Youth Coalition Coordinator, came and spoke to O'Neill National Honor Society, which I'm a member at West. And she was just talking to us about all the different opportunities we had to get involved in the program. And though I knew it had existed, I was never really aware of how high school students could get so involved in the program. One of the things that she did talk about was being able to go to Washington, D.C. to attend a national conference on prevention of substance abuse. And I thought that was really interesting, so I submitted my application, and not too long after that, I found out that I was attending the conference in D.C. with another high school student from Oshkosh North, and that is us at the entrance of the conference. It was the CADCA conference, which stands for Community Anti-Drug Coalition Conference, and while we were there, we were on the NYLI track, and that means the National Youth Leadership Initiative, and it was just us with, probably with over 100 other youth every morning for a week, getting together and talking about ways to pinpoint things wrong in your community and how to go about fixing them and diagnosing them and why things were actually happening in your community. There were a ton of other different kids there. We sat with 2 kids from California and 2 from North Carolina, so it was nice just to see other teenagers that felt the same way about reducing substance abuse in their communities and schools. So this is just what we did basically every morning for a week, getting together. And every morning we also went to a big group thing where all of the coalitions, the adults, the teenagers, and anyone else who was attending could listen to numerous different speakers talking about ways to combat the substance abuse prevention strategies and things like that. That's just another view of the place we were in. While we were there, we talked about how, or what we were going to focus on when we got back to Oshkosh. We worked on things like why substance abuse was happening, and we decided that we wanted to focus on underage drinking in Oshkosh and Winnebago County in general. We discovered that as high school students, we did have the inside look into what was happening in our own schools, and knowing that kids were kind of going through the stage of maturation, they were trying to figure out who they were, their sense of identity, things like that, that using alcohol was something that they used to find who they were they're like, accepted, they became more funny or more popular and things like that, and those were the areas that we wanted to combat to make sure that teenagers and youth didn't feel like they needed that to find their source of identity. I was also interested in working with the underage drinking campaign because my father does suffer from with alcoholism, so I've firsthand seen the effects of what can happen to someone who does suffer with substance abuse, and how it happens and how it affects people in their lives. So I thought that that was a really meaningful campaign. When we were in DC, we actually got to go to Capitol Hill for the day, and we briefly met with Ron Johnson. We saw him in passing as he was going to another meeting, a staffer of Tammy Baldwin, and we did meet with Petri for a little while and one of his staffers as well. And throughout the week, we had developed our platform that we wanted to work on with underage drinking, so we were able to sit down and talk to them about why the funding for prevention programs should be continued, because it was making a difference in our communities. Though DC was a lot of serious time where we were working on strategies to take back to our communities, we also had a lot of time to discover Washington, D.C. and worked the trains nicely down there and ate at a lot of different exciting restaurants. One night we ate at an Ethiopian restaurant and ate with our hands, so it was, needless to say, a very exciting week in my senior year. We did take the trip to educate ourselves, but also to be able to come back to the community to teach others and to start a youth initiative and group in the community. So we have started the Rethink Youth Coalition Coalition. We've had 2 meetings so far, and we decided that we will stick with the underage drinking focus. And that's just another picture from Capitol Hill. And we've been able to brainstorm and do things why underage drinking happens, but more specifically, why here. We realized that it is easily accessible, that it is a social norm in Wisconsin and Winnebago County, that it is parents are allowing kids to either take it easily from their household or just to not enforce any boundaries with that. Then we also focused on the fact that going towards teenagers, you needed to be educational and not focusing on reprimanding them for what they had done if they had made any poor choices, that we were going to be able to provide education for them so they would be able to make healthy and independent choices to make them feel that they were in charge of that, which is often important in a teenager's life, that they feel somewhat entitled to what they're doing. But yeah, so hopefully we have a next meeting coming up soon, and that we'll get more involvement and you'll see more things coming from the coalition soon.